So you've heard the calls our staff answer every day. Deep and complex conversations that take place at just such a critical part of someone's life. And their reality to a lot of us is hard to imagine. So I really wanted to introduce this special guest to share his story.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Gaulden. I invite everyone to take a deep breath with me for a moment. Now, I'd like you to think back to when you were 7. Such a carefree time. Imagine the joy you had at 7. Frolicking on the playground, going to amusement parks, birthday parties. 7, for me, was quite different. When I was 7, I was sleeping outside, on park benches, in staircases. I've lived in shelter after shelter, right here in downtown San Diego. I was homeless from ages 7 to 17, from June of 1998 until July of 2009. While most kids dreamed of racing cars or playing with Hot Wheels cars, I had to sleep in the car, bathe in the car. I starved in that car for weeks at a time. If you've ever experienced hunger, then you understand exactly what I mean. How it feels to starve when everyone else around you is eating. It's like striking a match and dropping it down your throat, and it hits nothing but gasoline. Every day my hunger set me on fire. My mother's highest annual tax statement reported that she had earned a total of $5,000 to support a family of 3. Naturally, a few years ago you have heard me asking, "Ma'am, can you spare any change?" Or, Sir, can you spare $1?" Hoping that one day I may accumulate enough change to exchange the bondage from my impoverished chains for something that might change my circumstances. My circumstances seem to perpetuate a pre-existing plight that portrayed people without a place to call home as inhumane, sadistic scoundrels who belong in the sewages of society. I was laughed at, mocked, teased, humiliated, all because I did not have a home. People did not want to touch me, as if I had leprosy, as if my homeless disease was spread unto them, as if by reaching out a helping hand, they suddenly lose their income, their job, their home, all the things that I never had. They did not understand that my family simply lacked the resources needed to successfully thrive. Some people cannot fathom how a family or an individual ends up homeless. Well, the math is basic, really. Take my family, for example. A family similar to so many others. They subtract income, subtract clothes, food, health, subtract empathy, subtract understanding. I donated clothes and shoes, then divided the sum by 2 children and a deathly ill mother, and it equals starvation and homelessness. What do you do when you're completely out of options? You have no resources, no connections. What do you do? That was my family's question. Dear God, what are we going to do? Thankfully, one day, my mom dialed 3 magic numbers into a payphone. I don't know where she got the numbers. I don't know who told her about them. But I listened in as she dialed 211. Someone began speaking with her. Not a machine, but an individual who treated her like she was a person. Someone who could see the humanity in our situation. An organization that directed her the resources to get her desperately needed medication. Resources for food lines, shelters, motel vouchers. They directed her to services to aid us in any unfortunate situation we found ourselves in. How did I survive 10 years of homelessness? I used impactful resources to help us survive. When I first met John Ohanian, the CEO of 211, I told him, thank you. The work you all do, the resources and connections that you all provide help us tremendously. See, the power of resources changes lives. It all starts with courage. I did not want to perpetuate the plight of impoverished people. I wanted to break free from the bondage and chains of homelessness and change the situation that I was born into. It was employment resources that allowed me to work as a high school custodian and move my family out of our car and into our first apartment in years. It was educational resources provided by reality changers that aided and guided me to UCLA, where I graduated. There are so many others out there with urgent need for these same resources. The imperative of resources is unequivocal. Yet I've noticed something. For some reason, people have no reservations in dialing 911 when they see a crime or experience an emergency. However, when their lights are about to become shut off, or they are going to bed hungry, they hesitate to ask for help. That is because most people in need perceive asking for help as embarrassing, as an admittance of failure. But I can attest that it is not. It takes courage to seek out resources. It takes strength to utilize them. And it takes passion from organizations like 211 and so many others willing to help increase our city's social capital. It takes a village to raise a child. And even more so, it takes the community to uplift its people. Again, my name is Gaulden. I work with reality channels. And I want to thank you for listening to my story. Thank you.